Hello, you all. Happy to see you again. Are you ready to craft with me? Today we are going to craft with the tin cans. Admit I've never done it before, but I've seen a lot of them, so I decided to give a try. But of course, the product I end up with, the craft I end up with, it was completely different than I started. So let's go through a journey. All what I'm trying to do is take my can apart and cut some kind of leaves and petals at the same time. I have to tell you, that was a very rewarding process. There are so many pluses in this whole thing. Obviously, my scissors are sharper than ever when I use them to cut my tin can. But of course, you should be wearing the gloves that I didn't, but nothing happened to me. But don't take that risk. Since I am not familiar with the metal, I decided to simply cut petal by petal to eliminate the risk of me cutting my fingers. So it is a longer process, but it is doable. It seems my petals are done. All what I need to do is just adjust them here and there and try to figure out what kind of flower am I going to make. As you can see, is I do have a good bunch of it, but I mean, it's pretty. That the flower, it would have looked really pretty, and I really decided even to add the bottom of my tin can to see if I can add a little bit more interest. But I did not have the thrill of that first project made out of tin cans. So I decided to cut a few of the smaller ones and see if I'm going to make my flower even more interesting, adding additional row of petals. So time to go back to the drawing board and cut some more. But this time I'm not going to cut many. I'm thinking I'm just going to cut maybe 5 or 6 and see how they line up with the my bigger petals. See, the little ones are actually giving a lot of interest, but I feel I do miss something in between. So as you can see, is I'm trying to flip them different directions and see, but I simply decided that I am going to deal with the smaller petals only, and I'm going to save the bigger ones for a different project. So here are my 5 petals that I decided to continue crafting with. And I just brought my little canvas, trying to figure out if that's going to perfectly fit on it, and it does. So now it's time to add some little touches and put my metal into work. But before I go there, I need to make sure that I can create some kind of interesting flower. But I do feel more confident dealing with the smaller petals to begin with. So let's paint those petals and let the fun begin. Can see is I am so new to this whole craft, so I even painted a little scraps, actually the bigger scraps of whatever I had from cutting my can. And of course, as I was spray painting, I did see some twigs, so I thought, why not bring them together to this project? And here are my white petals. I'm trying to dry them as fast as I can. I'm so anxious to work on this project. And because my spray paint had a little sheen to it, I decided to simply add additional coat of my chalk paint to get that matte finish to it. As you can see, I'm only concentrating on one side of my petals because my desire is to simply create the three-dimensional look for each petal. So it really, the bottom is not necessary to be completely painted. So now I am going to put that right on my canvas and try to make the flower. As you noticed earlier, I was not really a big fan of those petals, even the small ones looking like that. So I decided to simply add a little bit more of the texture and a little bit more of interest to each one of them, and I folded them in half. That's for sure look much better. So now it's time to treat them as I treat my paper petals, and try to bend them on different angles and try to see if I can now flatten them but still preserve that crease in the middle. You can see is now those petals they do have that tri-dimensional look. So all what I need to do is just simply twirl them right at the ends to even raise them up a little bit more, and then dress them up with the leaves and all those little scraps of the gold paper that I do have on the side. But before I go there, I do want to create an interesting heart. So I simply took the bigger piece of my scrap tin can piece and fold it in half, and then created a little fringe, and then secure that with the hot glue. And I think that's going to make a really pretty center. So the last layer of that tin foil that I was just making a fringe out of, I would like to bend it back to create even a fuller heart. I think it's time to glue all together and just start to really enjoy this whole process. That's just the best portion of all. I am actually really happy the way it looks right now, so it's time to add some leaves, some twigs, and call it a day and call our project finished. It seems like adding the little leaves and twigs would have been the easiest portion, but I was so mistaken. It is very difficult to make sure, especially when you have so many to choose from, to make the right call. But I think I am slowly getting that. I think I am happy with the final look. Now it's time to add a little bit more of an interest and paint the creases that I created when I fold my petals in half with a little bit of the gold paint. It's time to put some hot glue into work and put this all together. So I'm going to slide this all on the side and quickly glue them all. And notice that I am not gluing the entire piece, it's just in the spots. Seems like it's all done. I am really pleased with this. So here is the final pictures. Hope you enjoyed that project.